Well, welcome to How to Rock the Virtual Stage. I'm your host, the Trigger, Rich Bontrigger. Welcome back for another evening of helping you better present on the virtual stage, regardless if you're a school teacher, a CEO, whether you're a church ministry, whatever it is you do. We all know the importance now of the virtual stage, and it's here to stay. The virtual stage is ever expanding. It's becoming more and more powerful. Your influence, your career, your brand is so important. And tonight, I'm thrilled. We're going to talk a lot about image and branding with our guest tonight. You are in for a treat of how all that's going to come together on the virtual stage. Now, coming up this next week, we have not one, we have two shows. We're going to do a special Monday episode for you. Monday at noontime, we're going to have Dominique Ricks Murphy with us, and she is the president of the Right Method, a three-time Emmy Award winner. She is Miss Virginia America 2020, and she's the author, professional speaker, video content creator, and much more. She will be with us at noontime, and as you notice, we are launching a new way of sending out our invites and getting you into the show now. We have launched our new platform for How to Rock the Stage, and I will be talking about that and sending you more information. But look for the special invite for the 12 noon on Monday, this coming Monday. Then Wednesday night, we're back for our regular show, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we are going to have Herbert Flight Time Lang, a former Harlem Globetrotter. Now, he's been hanging out with us every so often. Herb's going to come on, and he is an international best-selling author. He is a philanthropist, motivational speaker, TV producer, and the big thing about Herb is kindness is free. And we're going to talk a lot about kindness and the other things, and I'm looking forward to having Herb come on next week, Wednesday. And again, you'll find more information about the new website. Prior episodes are up on YouTube right now. We're going to have prior episodes up on my website. And of course, everything's moving over to C-Suite TV as well. Speaking about C-Suite TV, my guest tonight is a part of the C-Suite. Sheila Anderson is an international branding icon. The image, return on image is her brand, corporate and personal branding she deals with. She's a C-Suite advisor, image consultant, speaker, author, and model. And here's something really cool. Sheila Anderson is on a mission to make people visible and memorable by raising their personal image to meet the value of their brand. She is a founder of the Image Power Play, an impression management and personal branding company dedicated to bringing forth intentional, consistent, and authentic interactions with others. By the way, Sheila is one of the select group of image consultants who has earned the prestige distinction Certified Universal Style System Consultant. It's the gold standard by which these style consultants are raised up to. She also has trademarked the Return on Image brand. Welcome to the virtual stage. Here is Sheila Anderson. Welcome tonight, Sheila.
I am so excited to be with you. Thank you for that very kind introduction.
And the crowd goes wild in the background. That is the one thing we miss about this is you don't get to hear them clapping and waving, but they are, because this is going to be wonderful. I'm kind of curious, how did you land in this whole industry of image? Because so many people play down. Image is not important. Don't get over caught up in yourself. You know, there's all the health things, and especially for like women, there's a lot of people that stress just be yourself. So how did you fall into this thing of image?
Yeah, that's a great question. For years and years, I've struggled with my weight and body image issues. So it came from me being my own art project in a sense. I got really frustrated with being a plus size at that time in the early 90s, on the clothing that was out there and just feeling actually invisible. And walking into a room and not having that self-confidence. And so I really kind of got sick of it and got tired of it. And I just thought, I need to turn this around, and how can I do it? And I've always loved clothing. Growing up, my mom and I would open a mall and we would be closing the mall. Like, the mall would be closed. You're like, no, we're not done shopping yet. So I had the best teacher in my mom, because I've always loved shopping, and I would spend hours putting together outfits growing up, just playing in my closet. So it really became a love of that. But again, going back to the body image issues, I really tried to figure out like how I can put myself together, and being very artistic, again, I became my own art project. Like, what what could I create on my body that makes me happy, that makes me feel good, that really brings out that inner essence of who I am and really showcases it out to the world.
See, I could
So
have used you about 15 years ago because I'm horrible at picking out my own clothes. I was telling you on the pre-show wrap, I did not even pick out this one outfit. Someone else picked it out for me. That's how bad I am. Is that common? Are people really not that aware of the image and the value of this conversation?
well, very much, because then the world wouldn't need image consultants if everybody was good at it. So thankfully that there's people like me that can help people. Um, you know, I can dress anybody, but where I really start with people is figuring out who you are internally first. What are your values? What are your strengths? What are your goals? What makes you tick? What makes you cry? What makes you happy? What frustrates you? What makes you really mad? Figuring out all those things about you, because that we have to figure out who that is internally first before we can showcase that through clothing and through color and how you interact with people. So it's creating, we're going to create that experience that people have with you. And very similar to corporate branding, figuring out that brand's personality of a corporate brand, we do that in personal branding as well. It's figuring out what is your brand personality? Who are you? And what does that look like in terms of brand attributes? How they say it in the corporate world. What does that look like in terms of a person? The brand attributes may be the style of clothing that you wear, that color of clothing that you wear, the accessories, the hairstyle you wear. All that is that visual data that people use to put together that picture of who you are.
So the personal brand, you just described it really well. I'm going to go
Yes.
a step further into that. I come out of the sports work and being a sports broadcaster and sports play-by-play and interviews. People assume that I'm going to have a sports jersey on to do my talk shows. I have left that aside, but I'm still a sports guy. I still do all that work. Do you start with identifying career and personality, like you said? How far does that go, or how much is that a personal choice? I want to put on the jersey. I want to be the sports guy. Where does that discussion go?
Well, it can go both ways actually. So figuring out, who you are as a person, and if we think of different industries, we have different thoughts about what somebody in that industry looks like. For example, I am married to a certified public accountant. We have a mental picture of what we assume a CPA looks like. And I will tell you that my husband does not look like a typical CPA. So he's got a very creative side, and we do a Tie Tuesday post and have fun with it. But there are maybe some rules in the business that you're in that you may have to adhere to somewhat, but we really can bring your personality into that. And you talked about me being certified in that universal style system.
Yeah.
There's these 7 different universal styles that all have different messages that they send, different words associated with them. Again, you talked about loving sports. So somebody that's very sporty, they're going to have maybe a little bit more of a casual sense about them. So their clothing maybe has to be a little bit more comfortable. They can still put on a sport coat, but maybe it's got to have a little bit more stretch to it. It can't be really confining for them. So we can do that through different fabrics and a lot of different things.
Fabulous. By the way, everybody, the chat box is open. Q&A is open. If you want to ask questions the first half of the show, that's great. Second half of the show, we're going to bring everybody in, take you backstage, and let them talk 101 with Sheila. We're looking forward to that. Let's continue on here with our discussion. And the virtual stage now is making this harder for people. And you and I are on calls all the time now. Um, People are coming in unprofessional, unbranded. Talk to the fact of how can we get back to that and look better here? Because is it a serious issue or is it not a serious issue?
I'm saying amateur hours over. You've had several months to figure out how to present yourself virtually. And if you're still working through that, the good news is Rich can help you. I can help you. There's several people that can help you. So please reach out to somebody if you're struggling. But how you show up even just on a call with a coworker, if they're used to you being casual, still put in some effort, still look put together, make sure your hair is, groomed, at least it's combed. You don't have to wear a hoodie. You can have something a little bit more casual on. We are used to, you are at home, but we still want you to put in some type of effort. If you're a banker and you always wear a suit and tie to the office, but now you're at working from home, you don't have to show up in a suit and tie, but maybe now it's a sport coat. So you can adjust it a little bit, but again, now this becomes your virtual business card. Everybody is just now they're making that visual data is just from what they're seeing on the screen, and they don't get to interact with you in person anymore. So it's very important how you're presenting yourself in this square box.
So I'm
And I
curious.
see
No,
people
no,
not
sorry. Sorry, go on.
people not smiling. I mean, you're on these Zoom calls with, you know, I don't know, 20, 100, I don't know how many people there are, but there's several screens and you look through them all, and most of the people are not smiling. So a great way to stand out and show some warmth through that screen is just have a soft smile. You don't have to have a full smile, but just have a soft smile. Look pleasant. And that'll help people, maybe reach out to you that aren't connected with you. I make sure I do that all the time, that I have just a soft smile on my face, and you would be amazed at how many people have noticed that. So it's a simple thing you can do, like smile. It's
Well,
easy.
a smile says so much, they say, and a smile with the eyes glowing are like the gateway to the soul. It really does. This lights up so much when you learn to communicate with. That's great. We're going to open up our poll question here for tonight, and this is for everyone to participate. It comes right up with what Sheila was just saying. Are you aware and do you care about your personal image on the virtual stage, on any calls you're on, or if you're on shows like we're often on the shows? Do you really care about it? Your answer options are: I do not think that it matters. Yes, I'm always aware of it. I really don't care about my image. Some people just flat out don't care. Or I have just started to realize that the importance of my image on the virtual stage. We're going to launch the poll. We're going to keep talking. And let's take that a little bit further now, because this is your new office. This is
Right.
now that lens that you were talking about. Um, what are the things not to do? Since we now have lights, we have microphones, we have things that are picking up other senses. What are the do nots for creating that image brand?
I you already talked about the lights and all that, but what I bring to the table when I help people with is figuring out how you present yourself and your appearance. So there's different colors that you can wear on camera that look better for you, and then there's like different patterns you can wear. So we can talk about the color psychology.
Yeah, please,
Um,
because again, there are certain colors, like those zigzag shirts,
yes.
really are not going to work for you on a TV set, are they?
No, no, and you can take some cues from if you watch some, news reporters or news anchors, although they don't always get it right. But you can take some cues for that. So solid colors always work best on camera. I mean, that's just a rule of thumb. It's there's that always works best, but there's some solid colors that are really hard on camera. Like for example, wearing all white. I love wearing all white, but wearing it on camera, the camera has a really hard time balancing that white. It can wash you out. You know, Trigger, please jump in if you have
Oh
any
yeah, yeah, yeah.
feedback
Because
on that.
it's just grabbing all the light, and it bounces back like a wall, and then you have the
Mhm.
extra glow, and then your face now looks really horrible wearing white. Stay away from
It's
white.
so washed out. I know. And then black's another color. We all think we look so slim in black, but wearing black on camera, now you just become a talking head because it's becomes this blob, and the black absorbs that light. And so now you're just this talking head. And if it doesn't balance with your overall appearance, it can look really, really tough. Red is my favorite color. It's one of my brand colors. I will break the rules and wear red on camera sometimes because, pay attention to your brand. And if it's a brand color, but I've learned to do it in ways that it's not hard on camera. But red can be really hard on a camera. So I try to pop it in the background a little bit with my lipstick because I love, love, love red. So those are three colors that you want to stay away from. But jewel tones are wonderful colors. And then there's different psychology to colors. So blue is the most trustworthy color. Tonight I put on, it's very business. Tonight I put on navy blue, which is very trustworthy because I wanted you to trust me as an expert. So I think about before I get on the virtual stage, what is my goal? What is my strategy? Who am I talking to? Do I want to be the authority? Do I want to just be really communicative? Am I there to listen, or is it a really hard conversation I have to have with somebody? So there's different colors associated with that. But again, I picked navy blue tonight intentionally because I wanted you to trust what I'm saying and be an expert. But talk about being business and professional on camera. We talked about red, and that's a very powerful color. So if you want to be noticed, you can wear red. Um, Green is hard with a green screen, obviously.
Oh yeah, stay away from that. Because then, yes, you will have the floating head
But
thing going on.
yeah, but if you don't are using a green screen and you're talking about health, that's a great color to put on. Brown is also a very, if you think about brown and you see it in the environment, it's a very down to earth color. So it's very communicative. It's great for like TV reporters, for people to talk to them and tell them more. So brown is a great color if you have to have a conversation. Pink is a wonderful color for men and women, both on camera. It does very, very well. But there's a feminine side to that. And it's also, there's a softness to it. So if you have to have maybe a tough conversation, but you want to have a little bit of empathy for them, or if you want to come across as empathetic, then there's oftentimes I'll put on some pink. Yellow is the very first color the eye sees, so that's a great thing to put on if you're going to be in a huge Zoom call and you want to get noticed, or if you want to stand out. Often I'll put on a great big yellow necklace, or maybe a yellow shirt. It can be a little much on camera, but if even I tell people, if you have little kids and you're taking them to a park, hopefully soon we'll be able to go to parks. If you take them out to a park, if you put a little yellow on them, you'll be able to spot them quickly in a crowd. So yellow is that first color the eye sees. So if you do want to stand out on a Zoom call, pop a little yellow. Maybe it's even behind you in a yellow flower or something.
So,
So
so there's a lot of psychology that
there's a
plays into
ton, because
this.
I could do a whole thing on it. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm going to come back to that in a second
Okay.
because the psychology of the branding, the market, the
Yeah.
CEOs, our companies right now are losing traction in consumer confidence.
Mhm.
So that really plays into that discussion. We're going to come back to that in just a second. Here's our poll results, Sheila.
Okay.
I want to take a look here and see. We are around a lot of smart people, it looks like. The vast majority,
I was aware.
they are aware of it. And you do have some now, they're just beginning to move into that area. But this is wonderful that the people we have with us are like, get you, we're on target.
Mhm. And a lot of times I'll have people say, well, when they're working from home and they're getting dressed and they're saying to me, well, nobody really sees me. Maybe I'm not even on a Zoom call that day. And I said, it still doesn't matter. Because you see you, and how you see yourself affects your performance, and it affects your mood, and it affects your mindset, and ultimately it affects your money. So
So
um,
let's go to that question now about the branding, consumer confidence. I've coached a lot of executives. You've done this as well, and people are not realizing how much you're losing the consumer confidence by coming on camera half cooked, and some
mhm.
not even cooked at all. Talk to us about the importance of this branding as it now translates into business and dollars and cents.
Yeah, you could be leaving money on the table if you're not showing up put together on a virtual call, because people are making assumptions about your company. They're making assumptions about your corporate brands. Maybe not even you as a CEO is showing up on a call, and maybe it's your sales team or marketing team. And if they're looking disheveled or half put together, not paying attention to the details, how do I know that you're going to take care of the other details of my business. So it all ties back to that corporate brand. I'm not saying, maybe you're a tech company and it is a very casual environment. You can still show up on a Zoom call if you want in a t-shirt, but make sure it's a nice t-shirt, make sure your hair is combed, just take some pride in how you look, because if that just plays into how people perceive you in your company. If you're not taking pride in your appearance, how do I know you're even taking pride in the work you're doing for me? If you're not stacking the boxes, all nice and intentionally in small little projects that you're doing, how do I know when it becomes a big project that that's not going to carry over? So
Well, and yeah, and that's exactly where the conversations have gone with consumers is if you're not looking good
I'm not
here
trusting
and you're
you.
asking for the dollars,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's behind door number 2 because door number 1 ain't looking good right now.
Right, they're trusting you with, especially with people that deal with large amounts of money. I need to trust you that you're going to take care of me in my finances. Um, just popped into my head. But one of the things that you can do to look more detailed is to put on a pair of glasses, even if you don't need prescription glasses. These are prescription glasses. I would love it if I didn't need prescription glasses because I'd have a whole bunch more, although I have several pair of prescription. But it does make you look more detailed. And if you're talking about money, I would advise you to buy even just a pair of non-prescription glasses to put them on. You look more businessy. Um, and for women who maybe don't get all their makeup on at the beginning of the morning, have to jump on a call, it kind of hides some things as well.
I
So
was going
that's
to ask you
a
about the
little added
glasses.
tip.
Well, I was going to ask you about the glasses. B, you go
Yeah.
right to the question we have in the chat box right now from a Q&A. Monique
Okay.
wants to know, what about those people who aren't crazy about doing like the makeup? They don't have the knowledge of how to make it really good and
hmm
TV quality. What do
hmm
you say about those people that are struggling with how far do you go with that whole image thing?
Yeah, so you can do just a makeup routine, very quick. And what I would suggest is a little concealer. You don't need a lot, a little concealer, a little bit of powder, put on some type of even if it's a lip gloss or a tinted lip gloss or a tinted moisturizer. And then I really love to contour a face or some bronzer, and even men can do this as well because you can look really flat on camera, like all one color. And so I know Rich is going, how do I contour my face as a man? Um, you can. There's some contouring powder that you can. That's my biggest tip, right? Concealer and contouring and a little bit of lip gloss. Um, and people are looking at your eyes. So even if the women can like do your eyebrows. Um,
So you have your own company, Return on Image. Now, most of us think about the REO, and we're talking about some of that right now a little bit.
mhm.
But again, just dive deeper. Talk about your company a little bit. How did you even come up with this idea of Return on Image? You branded it, you protect it now. Really, give us kind of a little commercial about what Sheila really is all about.
Yeah, so I work with executives, entrepreneurs, and speakers to help them raise their personal image to meet that value of their brand. So, again, are you showing up in a way that people would expect of you of your brand? So we have to pay attention to that, and that needs to be in alignment. And so, like I've said, I'm married to a CPA. He's always talking to me about my return on investment. What's your ROI? And I got to thinking about really like, what is it costing me to have a poor image, showing up not really caring? And am I leaving money on the table that way? And what do I get if I'm showing up with maybe a stellar image? And some of the things that you gain are you can attract. We all want to attract customers or clients, but having a great image can attract the right clients to you, not just any client, but the right ones that you want to attract. So you're more targeting your audience. Another thing is you can command higher fees. You look like somebody that I want to pay more. You look like you have yourself put together, you look professional. I'm willing to invest my money, give it to you. So those are two great great ways that you can gain a return on your image. And yes, I trademarked return on image, because we think about, what's the value of having a great image and what is it costing you to have a poor image?
Well, and again, through the past 10 months, I think more and more of us are realizing that our ROI here virtually is becoming more important. And I think
Hmm.
going forward, it's going to even become higher and higher. The
Hmm.
value of learning this camera presence, these are broadcast techniques.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are TV techniques, everybody. You have to start thinking that way if you're going to present and live here. And most of us are going to stay here in some capacity, one way or the other. Um,
Yeah, it's not going away, right? The
no,
virtual world is not going away and it's getting bigger. And with the virtual world, we're now connecting to people in other countries that are joining us on calls. And so more and more people are seeing you. So you really need to pay attention to and be intentional and be intentional about how you're showing up and then show up consistently. How you be consistency in how you're showing up. You would probably fall over if I would show up on a Zoom call in a t-shirt. You probably wouldn't know what to do, or
we wouldn't
without
know who you are.
hair and ponytail.
We just even we wouldn't recognize you.
No. So it's out of character for what you would expect from me.
So is that part of it?
Mhm.
Are we building a character? Are we building an avatar by doing this image so the avatar speaks for us and people do know what to expect? Is this really what we're building out right
Sure.
now, is a living, breathing avatar?
Sure, you could that's a great way to put it. Yeah, they know what to expect from you, as that, they've had that experience with you. And again, we've talked about a little bit about personal branding, and I define personal branding as owning that experience others have with you through every touch point. And one of the touch points is on the virtual stage.
So, question coming in again from the audience here tonight, which I love. Thank you, everybody. Continue. And again, second half, we're going to
Yeah.
bring you in. The Zoom filters and different platforms now have the make you look beautiful filters. Are you a
Yeah.
fan of those, or should we work on it on the real stage, or should we let the computer do the magic?
Hey, I am totally in favor of it. If it isn't like, well, okay, that looks weird. But yeah, the touch up my appearance, I have it turned on. I think that works great. So things that help, but you don't want to get it like I don't know if you've seen that the t-shirts that say not photoshopped.
Yes, yes, that one's
Uh,
trending pretty good right now.
People walking around like not photoshopped, because really we are in that Instagram society, as so many people are really filtering their photos, and then we show up in person or on a virtual call and you're going, whoa, that does not look like that picture they posted on Instagram, because they use 5 gazillion filters and it's not authentic. But I'm for doing a little bit of the touch up my appearance here, or
You're making
some
me think of the dating apps.
so,
Like when you go on the dating apps and you go and you say, you know what? Oh yeah, great. Then you go out for coffee and you're like, that's not you.
well, right. So then you're not showing up consistently.
That's perfect. That's wonderful.
That's what we want, it's the you show up the same through every touch point.
We're gonna have the second half of the show coming up very soon. We're gonna bring everyone in. You're gonna ask Sheila her own questions and find out more about what she does. A reminder, everybody, that coming up on Monday we have a special event, and you want to come back to hear Dominique Ricks Murphy with us. She is the president of the Right Method. She is the Miss Virginia 2020, Miss Virginia American 2020, professional speaker, author, and much, much more. She'll be with us on Monday, a noontime. Noontime will be going live. Make sure you sign up for that. And then on next Wednesday, we're going to have the Globetrotter in the house. We're going to have Herbert, the flight time Lang is going to be with us. Looking forward to having that. He's a philanthropist, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and he's all about kindness is free. We're going to have a lot of love and kindness next Wednesday night, I'm sure, with Herbert. Before we jump into the second half of the show here, how can people find you, get in touch with you? Let's make sure, because some people drop off the halfway point. How can they find Sheila Anderson?
I just go to my website, imagepowerplay.com, and all my social media links are on there. And my email is Sheila, SHEILA, at imagepowerplay.com. Reach out. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. But again, if you go to my website, you can find out my social media links, and I, love to connect with you.
And don't forget, if you want to learn more about what I do, Rich Bontrager, Rich Trigger Bontrager, rich at richbontrager.net. Also, rockthestage.com is now launched. We're going to have a lot more information. That is our platform where the show is now streaming live out of. That's where all your invites are going to. We're going to have back content, we're going to have featured content, coaching content, and a lot more material coming through rockthestage.com. Thanks for being with us tonight, and stick around. The second half is coming up next.